Let's get everyone straight. Let's zoom a little bit. What was that? That looks about right, doesn't it? Okay. Here we are, guys. Part 2 of the Duergar 4 points starter. Oh, that's telling me we've got to start the stream. Okay, we did these guys last time. That's the 1 point of levy. Usual for bowmen rather than crossbowmen, but I like that. So tonight we're going to do. Oh, good evening, Ben. How you doing, mate? Did you have a good week? So yeah, we're going to go over these Hearthguard. Awesome looking chaps. I think in any other warband these would be your warlord miniatures, really. Nice. It's always good to have a constant stream of miniatures arriving at your abode, isn't it? Okay. Ah, good evening. Do I kits with Karen? Nice. So do I crew kits or Karen or KK? They are nice. Yeah, I did the unboxing the other day. You've probably seen the short one on there. But yeah, these are the levy ones. It's unusual, the bow idea, and you so often see the crossbow. They are chunky fellas for the levy. Right, let's KK will do it. I like that. Okay, what should we go with first? Let's do the skin color. Now, last time I did the skin, what did I use? I went up from the greys and then put blue on it. But then in the week I thought, well, why didn't I just use the Griffin blue? It saves so much time, and I reckon I can get the same result. If I don't get the same result, I'll have to repaint it. But hey, that's part of the fun of this, isn't it? Right, let's get some brush that's got a little bit of a point on it into our medium. Let's just throw this base on, make sure I've got the camera in the right place. Yeah, let's just check that that isn't, well, they're going to have different skin tones. I think that's going to be a bit too blue. So, quick mistake, we'll just wash that off with a bit of water. Bit of the water off. So yeah, we're going to have to do it the long way, which was, I believe, without looking back at my other video. It was that grey. Stone column. Ah, army paint to paint. I swapped from, I used to use all sorts. I had Vallejo, I had G-Dub, a bit of everything. And I tried some army painter and I absolutely hated it. Yeah, I thought, whoa, what a load of pants. But then I had another go at it and persevered and thought, this is quite good. And the trick with it is getting it set up right. What I mean, if you don't know, I'm sorry if I'm gabbling on, but I'll carry on gabbling on until someone stops me. So when you get an army paint, they put a lot of like packing medium or something in it. So you've got to kind of unscrew the top, get a cloth, and squeeze very gently and get rid of some of the medium first. Then chuck your ball bearing in it, and then shake the bejesus out of it. I mean, I've got like I converted a back massager thing to a paint shaker, and it just rattles the hell out of it. Once they're set up, they're brilliant. I got rid of everything else, and I've just got, well, I've got a bit of Vallejo kicking around again now, just for some different variants. But I bought the whole range, as you can see. I bought their big box, which I think is great. That was a very long-winded answer, didn't it? You probably didn't expect that long. And on the just to add to that, I think their tones or washes, whatever you want to call them, I think they're the best. But again, it's getting to use them right. It's the dark tone, or their version of Nuln Oil, is very dark, and you have to water it down a bit. But this medium I make, again, that makes all difference to the paints as well. Just that bit of matte medium in it gives the wet palette a bit of a hand, makes it flow nice. So I'll shut up for a minute, shall I? Just in case anyone's got any other questions about what I've just said. I didn't want to sound like a politician blathering on, didn't give anyone else a chance to make a comment. It all goes quiet. I wish people could actually talk on this Paintalong. It'd be good, wouldn't it? So yeah, there we go. So that's the base layer of the flesh on. So while we're doing base layers, we're going to track the base layer of a good shout. What did you have for dinner then? Anything good? So now we've got going for some gunmetal. Get our old cruddy brush. yeah, it's quite a job, but well worth it in the end. Make sure you squirt a little bit of the extra medium out of them though. That makes a massive difference. Just only need a little tiny bit. What I did, because I bought the big set all at once, the the ultimate or whatever it's called, the mega super duper box. So all I did is I put them in the rack, and then as I used them, I ticked them off on the checklist as they come with, that I'd put a ball in there. That way it wasn't so much of a pain in the butt, because you could kind of do it as you went along. So we're just going to put the it's horses for courses, isn't it? Tamiya paint, some of it's very good, but only for airbrushing really. I don't really. I know I've got a couple of guys that do a lot of proper modelling, not like me. They swear by it, but so I've just got to check the front door. Will be 2 seconds. Did you get it? Did you get the door? Alright, okay. Sorry about that, everybody. I know exactly what. Steady, Jean-Luc. Good evening. Yeah, I was just Amazon were just bringing my next hobby delivery, which is some sanding sticks, like sort of cushiony ones. And in my drawer earlier, and thought, I've run out. So please, Amazon, bring them to me before. I've got lots of prepping to do. Oh yeah, but this is more important than real life, isn't it? Let's give him a. I think the others I give like a bronzy axe to. What I'm going to do with these guys is where the first batch I did, and I kept that. I did like a black, red, and bronzy look to them. I'm going to keep that going through the whole warband, which is something you don't usually get to do in like the saga stuff, well, especially the earlier sort of dark agey stuff. So I thought I'd have a bit of uniformity to the duergar, and because why not? Because they're mine and I'll paint them how I like. So, yeah. Rant over. Oh, what are you prepping up at the moment, KK? Got the brush with a point on us. Should be using the knackered brush, really. It's too late now. This will be added to the knackered brush list. Yeah, we'll just keep cracking on. Yeah, I saw you subscribed during the week. Thanks for that. That's what we like to see. Nice. I think I'd look at your channel. Have you got YouTube videos I looked at? That's it. I did have a look, and I thought, oh, did I subscribe? If I forgot to subscribe, I'm really sorry. I'll go and do it later. I'm sure the guys will go and have a look. It's good to help everyone out in it. There's enough room for everyone, isn't there? Yeah. Well, this is one of the reasons I started doing this, is to try and encourage people to work through. You know, I get a lot of commissions where I have to paint a lot of the same miniature, so my workflow is got to the stage where I can kind of do big batches, you know, because they can. It's very easy to swamp yourself and stop yourself painting altogether. So, had a chat with the nice chaps at Gripping Beast, and they wanted to support something on the internet, so I've done a bit of painting for those guys. They decided to support this channel, which is good. So in transparency, I didn't pay for these miniatures. They gave them to me to use on this channel, and in the future we'll be using them on to do battle reports as well, because I thought I hadn't done the hands then. Hoi! How are we doing, Rich? Yeah, they're a good company, Ripping Beast. They do a lot of stuff like supporting the hobby. They're real gamers, you know what I mean? And it took front rank on board. These guys, Ragnarok, the sculptor of these, was the original Beastie Boy who then sold up and has now come full circle and working with the guys he sold to, which is kind of really cool. Allows him to do his thing, which is good for everyone. There's lots of screaming kids outside my window tonight, so we'll see how it goes. I'd like to keep the window open so I can breathe a bit, but if it gets too much, we'll shut it down. I'm just working on the paint scheme here, so we'll do like a black there, then we give him a red lining. So let's chuck some black on. This one, KKs you've not seen before, is not Games Workshop black. It's whatever black comes to hand, and I chuck it in there, and I water it down with the medium, so it becomes very thin. So when I put it on that, it acts very much like, because we've Xenophil highlighted, the blacks sort of will let some of the grey through. Can you see that on there? You will when it dries in a sec. Yeah, so as it goes on the Hearthguard, these are the Warlord's buddies, so they've got to look a bit fancy pants. These are the guys that get the best gear, got the most money. Well, I suppose in duergar society. It's to be honest, Games Workshop paints, a lot of people either swear by it or hate it. It's a love-hate thing, isn't it, GW? I like GW paint, but in fairness, once you get the army painter stuff going, it's very similar. I think the big plus of it for people that paint a lot of GW stuff is it's easier to follow the tutorials if you've got the same named paints. So I think that's the main thing. So we shall go for, I was going to go for black than the black cloak, but what I might do is do a different lining, and yeah, we can do it different. We can make that look different. I'm going to keep mainly the blacks and reds theme going. What I would invest in though, if you haven't got some, is the matte medium I use is very, very good. It's very similar to, well, let's move that part out of the way. Okay, this is the stuff that I make the matte medium out of. It's General Matte from PBO. You'll find it on Amazon. It's that size thing, which is a 250. They do different sizes, but it works out about 5 of that, does it? And then I might as well go through this now, because then what I do is mix it up in there. So I put in one of those, I put about that much medium, and then I get water out of the tumble dryer so it doesn't stink, which is the same as high moggified water. And you mix that with it so it doesn't go stinky. And sometimes I put a couple of drops of flow improver in it, and that's where I go with that. Okay, so we do a red there, and it's fur, so that's cool. So that's a quick flyby of what's in the little blue tub there and in the bowl. But I try and get everyone to use that. The other stuff you can, because it's like a good matte medium, you can water your paints down with it. You can make washes with it. Don't drink it. But you can do most other stuff with it. You can turn paint into glazes, inks into washes, everything. So it's good stuff. Yeah. Yep, they work. Truth there. What I do with the paint shaker was somebody got me I'll tell you what make it is. Wall. Yeah. And then what I did with the back massage bit, sorry about that guys, I put a hair tie around it. And this is the mother of all shakers, right? Look. Are you ready? Woo! You can hear the ball screaming for mercy. I shall stop. And it's hung on the cabinet over there, so whenever I need it, it's just a quick grab. Woo woo, and away you go. And of course, if I have got an injured back at any point, I can take the hair tie off and change the thing and massage my back. Yeah, the nail varnish ones are good. Oh, even ham and jam. Ham and jam. Is Jam your surname, or do we call you Ham when we get to know you? I like to get everyone how they like to be called online. So we've got KK, Rich. I called Ben Benjamin for a long time, but he doesn't mind. He's ever such a nice guy. He's our resident beer toasting expert, I think. Is that right, Ben? Skål. Yeah. The other thing with that matte, I was going to say lacquer, than the stuff I make over there, matte medium, is if you've got dried out paint, a couple of squirts of that in it, and a shake, and boom, you're away again. Oh my god. I think it's actually any Ben. I think it's just a generic thing for Bens. Should we just go with that? Maybe. I don't know. You happy with that? like it. So there we go. That's right. So I just read Ben's thing. Oh dear. I was painting 6mm the other day. Yeah. We would go there. I get carried away as well. It's terrible, isn't it? What is weird, if you paint a load of 6mm and then you grab a 15mm, it feels like a 54mm. Well, that sounded really geeky, didn't it? But I bet any non-painters there would have gone, what? Sorry about that. That's, people, can't they see that I'm busy? Don't people know yet that I'm busy on a Friday night? Okay, so next we're going to go for Abomination Gore, which is always my go-to base red colour. Real nice dark. And we're going to go for the outer cape being red, and we're going to do them a different... Oh, or should we do purple? Oh, now let's go red. And I'll show you, we'll put some medium in it to show you what I mean about thinning the paint out. So, as you can see, it's spreading quite thin. It would have covered that really, really well on one hit, but what we're going to do is we're going to thin out the paint. And the reason we're doing that is because we've Zenithal highlighted. We want, what do we want, John Luke? We want free shading. Oh, my phone's just making so many strange noises tonight. I thought I'd switch the sound off. Sorry, everyone. You know, at some point I will get this right. So as you can see, that paint's just a little bit too thin to cover because the medium's thinned it out. It's become transparent, I suppose. I'm not a scientist on those terms, so excuse me. You can see through it, like, and what we want is we want to see that Zenithal highlight through the red, because we're going to do some highlighting where we thinned it down there. It's already getting lighter on the higher parts. Yeah, so yeah, you see where I've gone over the higher parts, the undercoat's showing through, that grey look. But that's what we want, because we want this darker red to sit in the recesses, because we're going to highlight them anyway. So almost, we're getting free shading, John Luke, for you. Also, we're getting a highlighting painting guide. I'm just going to, there's a couple of pooling up bits, and we're going to do our favourite wick in there, which is washing the brush out, drying it slightly, just tap it a few times, take a bit of that off. There we go. You see how quickly that dries? We'll do that for a minute. Let's do some more. So again, because we've used the medium rather than water, the paint kind of, you can stretch it just a bit further before the colour breaks. I think I'll have to do a little short 5-minute video on that, just to demo that, because it's quite fun seeing how far you can get paint to stretch before it snaps. And that will mean nothing to anyone that's not done it, but everything to people that have. I do say a lot of stuff on here that doesn't kind of make sense, don't I? Sorry. But if I don't make sense ever, feel free to ask a question. I do keep looking up at the screen to make sure I haven't missed anything. Oh. Yeah, summer painting sessions with the window open. It was all quite, got spoiled all through the winter, didn't you, with it quiet? And KK, as you said, the most interesting thing about Tamiya paints is they make great figure holders when you're painting. These ones were given to me a little while ago, and they were bought in a town, in a hobby shop that's long gone from our town centre, and it must have gone in the 80s, and the price labels on some of them still read 10 pence. Just thought I'd share that. Do you want to know where it is? BT's. Trent's. Yeah. 6 and matte medium in it, or especially if you put a couple of extra drops of retardant in it. I say in the summer as well, a wet palette's pretty cool. You just keep tipping water in it. So okay, let's look. He's gonna have a red cloak. Yeah, I was going to do different colours, but I think we're going to keep it uniformy. So let's give him the same cloak. As you see now, now I've watered it down with that medium, and it's on the wet palette. Yeah. Yeah, I get that in the summer. It's crazy, isn't it? I just have one of these pipettes and a pot of water next to it, and every few minutes just keep going. You know what I mean? It's vicious, isn't it? So, some things it helps with. If you're doing a lot of glazes, it's ace, because you can force glazing is like speed painting. But if you're trying to do something like a wet blend, woo, no hope. You see how thin that red paint's got now? It's because the wet palette's doing its thing, taking over where we started from. You see that? Gives that nice grey look through it, which is really going to help us in a bit. Mm-hmm. Oh, evening, Nick. Yeah, I went through a bit of a love-hate thing with the wet palette for a long time. It's a personal thing. I think you can get on quite well without them, especially if you're using like a lot of medium as you paint or something. But once you get them under control and what you're going to use them for, they're brilliant. I mean, it's like this stuff here. This is like, it's paper, but it's plastic. Somebody a printer, a friend of mine got it for me. It's basically plasticized, so it's, I don't know if that's the correct word. That's the word I've just made up. So water just runs off it. It's non-porous. I've tried buying it and I can't find it anywhere. But basically, printers use it. Because I used to use a soap dish, a marble soap dish, which was scooped like that, so you could get a lot of wet in the middle, and then you dry stuff up the sides, if you see what I mean. I don't know if it's handy. It's usually kicking around. Oh no, it's not kicking around. Yeah, I used to have the big, what was it, the Frisk Revel or something? The big A4 one I used to have. But I downsized when I started doing the videos, because obviously I didn't have the space, and I went for the army paint one, and I think it's a good little palette. The sponges don't last terribly long, but they're not terribly dear, so it's not terribly a problem. And I won't use the word terribly in the next sentence at all. Okay, so we've got some red going on out there, we've got some black. So next, whilst that is all wait to dry, we'll put some of the tones on so they can start drying. First of all, I'm going to use blue tone. Of course, use all the tones on the dry palette. And we're just going to get a little bit of medium in the brush, just to help it run off. I'm just going to do that on his flesh tones. Although last week what I did on the following day when I did like the little finishing touches, I did some purple wash as well right at the end, and it kind of just tied it all together. Yeah, I think Ben's got a very good tip there. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Ben. Yeah, so it's worth saying, just in case the sometimes the comments don't come on the video tomorrow, is Ben's just discovered that trying to paint through and work through a case of the hiccups while you're painting is never a good plan. Cure for hiccups? I really can't offer one, in fairness. There's many, isn't there? There's many. Drink a glass of water backwards. Yep, been there. The only problem I find with like making the ones like the Frere Erasure Bots, I've got a habit of resting my hand on the edge of the palette while I'm working. So I like getting my brush really flat. So if I've not been very kind to the palette today, have I, in my video? There we go. So if I'm adding stuff to there, I don't like having my brush at a high angle that the edges make you do. So I like using that edge on it. It's a silly thing, but it's a personal thing, isn't it? It's whatever works for you. But yeah, you're drinking a pint of paint, or paint a glass of water backwards. Oh dear. Well, that will probably work. That will cover the next one is to make someone jump, isn't it? Well, that probably would make you jump as well. So that's two bases covered. I'm sure Jean-Luc has got many cures for hiccups. I think the traditional Viking cure for hiccups was to hit someone in the face with the butt of your battle axe, or your battle axe, depending on your view of that person. So all those raids on the monasteries, yeah, they were just trying to cure the monks of hiccups. We've come to share our knowledge with you. This is. I've not even been drinking tonight. Okay, next one is Dark Tone. We're gonna have a go at that. Chainmail. Now this one is definitely one you have to put a little bit of medium into, or a little bit of water if you don't use the medium, because it is real. Unless you want that to be really dark, it's really strong, which is good as long as you know it's going to be like that. Where were we? Oh, we were on Hiccup. Oh no, we did Viking Hiccup cures. Beheading. I think the French were keen on that one. I've got an offensive. Well, thank you for sharing, John. There's a joke in there somewhere, but probably I'll get struck off from YouTube if I say it. Was it my wife's got no nose? Yeah, la guillotine. Or axe. I don't think the method of head removal is important in curing hiccups, but Jean-Luc asked that I make sure I really spoke about the painting, and that I'm being very silly tonight. I think we're doing both, John, aren't we? Learning's got to be fun. Oh. Yeah. As you can see, it's made that chainmail quite dark, but we want that because we're kind of doing. I kind of do chainmail the long way around. And a lot of people do the dry brush over the top of the black, which is good. And I get that it works. It's slightly quicker than doing it this way. But what I like about this way is you get to control where you want the shadows and where you want the highs. Because later on we'll go back over it with a silver. Which is cool. Okay. What I'm going to do with the fur is later on we're going to hit that with a speed paint. So I'm going to grab some white. This is matte white, but it's been watered down a bit with the medium. You can hear how. Right, the paint I did the chainmail with was the gunmetal, and then just put the dark wash over the top, and then I let that all dry out. Then later on I highlight it with the silver, which sounds a little long-winded, but I think it's worth it. And what we're doing now is we're just going to drop some white on the. Let's grab the better. Yeah, prioritize. Got to look after the pups. What pups have you got? So yeah, so we're gonna drop this on, so it's gonna give us a nice fur effect in a minute. I saw on the website how Colin paint these guys up. He went really Lord of the Ringsy, very dark, and they look great. So I didn't want to. This brush is pooped. That was because I used it on the chainmail. Once you use the metallic chainmail brushes, you've killed them. Two jumps. I bet is the pug the boss. There's a little pug round the corner for me, and he's called Doug. Yeah, so you know you're saying it now. We're all saying it. Doug the pug. Building Normans. Yes. We did Normans, I think it was the second 4-point. We've been doing these for a little while now, and we've been doing the 4-point, working our way for the 4-point starter armies. This brush is pants. Let's go. I just use the army painter ones. So, but I've got some, I'm running a bit short, so I'll grab some others. Okay, I a cat called Zombie Bob is awesome. I shall see you. I'll see your cat called Zombie Bob, and I shall add my goldfish called Lieutenant Shiny Sides. Just don't ask. Oh, sorry, I've bored your rat. I get 2 stars on the rat flicks. At least I stay away from controversy on Pirate Rich paints. We don't go near controversial subjects. If we come across one, we swerve verily away from it, saying yarg lots. Set sail in different directions. Yeah, we're doing this because there's one of the speed paints, one of the greys, makes really good fur if you do this. Excellent. So yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, doing the white, wasn't I? We come back in for their beards because I think all their beards are like a grey white bit. We can make that a bit more. Just add a bit more medium. We're not looking for, as you see, this white's pretty watered down, and it's not to cover it, it's just to lighten it a bit. So I don't really care because when the speed paint goes over the top, it'll just use all the different shades to give us a nice effect. You have to do a Tuesday stream. Oh, okay. Why is that, mate? Am I being thick? Ah, I get you. Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? I get loads of, obviously, as you imagine, I get loads of people reminding me of that. I think I could just do a stream, just open a bottle of rum and see how long I can paint for before I'm incoherent and on the floor. And have it paint like a pirate. There he is. It was the why is the rum always gone? It's usually at this point I like putting a bit of, that's that one, I think. Get some oak brown, and I put this onto the dry palette, just a little drabble. That should be enough. And then what I do is water it quite a bit with the medium, and when we put the pomace around the base, I like doing this quite early on so we can have a look at I think it shows the colours of the miniature up there, but as you can see where we've watered it right down, just let it run into the pomace. So again, you get free shading, Johnny. Well, actually, sorry, more free highlighting than shading. I think it just helps you sometimes look at the yeah, yeah, why not? I'm preparing to do some videos on doing the saga, using saga. I've been having a lot of practice games and thinking about how to structure the battle reports. I don't really want those really long drawn out ones where they show you every single dice roll, but it's working out what you want to keep in and get rid of, if you know what I mean. But I shall get there. Yeah. I totally agree with Ben. I think Saga's a brilliant kind of gateway game, isn't it? It's I taught somebody how to play it first time. He's a keen 40k player and loved Saga. The boards, he just loved the using the battle boards, and they do add so much flavour to the game. And of course, Age of Magic is just, oh, I think it's my favourite at the moment. Yeah, we're saying, yeah. I mean, that's where I got that saying stuck in my head, I think, from the other week. Yeah. We shall not be mentioning that again. But it's true, and it once the kids are hooked on miniatures, that's it. I got no chance of getting their money on anything else. Yeah. GW stuff's not called plastic crack for nothing, is it? Okay. I was going to do the Insider's Cake green, but I want to save the green for when I do the Goody Dwarfs. Goody. You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. So first of all, we're going to do the red tone on the back of the. Oh, luckily I've got one of those in the spare kit. The best way I've found to buy these are in the box sets. They do. You save a couple of quid on them. So we're just gonna off. I shan't be going, I'm afraid, Benjamin. Ecky Thump. Aye. When we trying to tempt you down our end of the country for the Saga event as well? Or has the timing all gone to pot? I can't remember. Rich is very good on the dates and stuff. He might help us out there. So now I'm just moving the washer about a little bit, so if it's gathered up too much in one place. There we go. Oh, that's all right. You could enter the Iron Man one. That's pretty much, you just go for it. I think you've got the right spirit to play Saga. You want to butcher everything, and it's very much a game of warlords running around cracking people's heads open, and they're actually complete thugs. Um, I've seen lots of discussion groups now talking about whether it's historically, if it is it a historical game. Well, I can completely 100% say it's saga. It's, as its name says, it's based on the sagas. So if you believe the sagas are true, and it's in the spirit of the sagas, so these Hearthguards were the warlord's friend. So you know, as I said earlier, they're his drinking buddies. Yeah, that's the beauty of the fact that there's so few minis. It's representing a pub brawl, really, isn't it? We were talking about this the other night. If you're talking about a 4-point starter army being 30 miniatures, and the local warlord's village having, I don't know, 100, 200 people in it, about 30 warriors is quite a hefty amount of the village, isn't it? And if they're going to go and have a fight with the next village over, you don't want them all dying. That's the end of your village. So yeah, there's I won't go any. That was quite a long conversation. I won't go any further in that bit. But you can see where we're going with that. Okay, so I was thinking green, but now I'm thinking purple. But now I'm looking at it, I don't know. Let's put the first layer of gold down while we think. And the metallics, the army paint metallics are good, but again, shaky, shaky, shaky. Shake the bejeebus out of them, and then you'll end up with decent metallics. If not, you won't want to use them. You'll think, oh, they're rubbish. But yeah, it was an hour and a half. it was about an hour and a half, that chat, wasn't it? Very, very correct. So yeah, we're just gonna. So we'll keep this theme going right through the warband. They look quite neat because they've released the dwarves now. So I can get a set of those next. And chuck them on table. Age of Magic. And we want to be able to tell them apart really easy. So sometimes it's best to think of paint jobs like that as well. Yes. Base layer that on. Bit of medium, just to keep the brush from getting dry and sticky. Yeah, looking good. it run on not too thick. We don't want it all getting all claggy. I'm not sure if claggy is the right word, but it's the word I've gone for, so that will do. Alcohol fire. Hour and 5 minutes in, we are. That's not bad. We're doing all right. This one I think I'm gonna leave those quarters and put them in as maybe leather or something. Just to make it look a little different. I'm not really planning too much out, I'm not very much seat of the pants. Painting by the seat of your pants. Thank you. Oh yeah, there we go. Let's pick out some of these. Some of this fanciness. Yes. That's a lot of information, Jean-Luc. And there's a road we don't want to go down. Thank you. Thus was the end of the channel as it got banned through. So yeah. Let's just do this sword. It's hiding under there. Very fancy. They're pretty easy finishes to paint. I mean, pretty straightforward, which is good. It's always good if you're trying to go quick, if everything's kind of straightforward. I think it's now to deploy our secret weapon. Da, da, da. Model Air Burn Umber. Pirate Rich's secret weapon for speeding up proceedings. So we're going to go and we're going to hit all our leathery stuff all with that colour. And because it's the air paint, you thin it a little bit if you like, just to let it flow a little bit easier. As I said, all the shops everywhere always run out of this colour first. It is the go-to cheap paint. As you see, just bang it on that leather. Anything that overruns a little bit into the chainmail would just look like rust. It's just to overload your brush. It goes where you want it to go. And we'll have a little bit of leather strapping at the bottom of his beard. His mighty beard. Okay, that's all the browns on him. Really speeds the process. Just the little steps like this speed the process. It's good for horses as well. If you water it down a bit, run it over good old Dobbin. If you've Centerfall highlighted, hit it with this. Dobbin is painted. Move on. That's if you don't want to use it for the leather strapping. or what's it called? Tack and harness. Is it tack and harness or tack? I don't know. Even the woodlet, if you just hit the wood as well, done. I will get some and I'll do it for you then. Can I do it on the dwarves rather than the duergar though? Tack. Thank you, KK. So is harness part of attack then? Does attack everything? Somebody has forgotten that I'm... and he should know better. Jean-Luc, it was Dylan. He should have known better, shouldn't he, in fairness? Yeah, you see how that brown really... Even though I've done the leather and wood on it, it doesn't really... It doesn't really... especially in army painting, it just... I mean, if you're going for, you know, better... I kind of, for this channel, try and aim for... Whilst we're doing the live, I aim for, like, what I call sort of tabletop sort of... I suppose is the best description I can come up with. And then maybe I put a little bit more into it the following day. So I kind of try and leave the painting open-ended. So I'm showing you how to take it to a good level, but not closing it off to spending a bit more time on it, if you know what I mean. I think I did a video of what to do next as well. I think I've done that. So we did things like, you know, carried on building up the highlights and using glazes on it and freehand and stuff. You should do that on the Warlord ones. Ah, right, okay. Thank you. Must never stop learning. Every day's a school day. That's it, innit? And if you don't know, ask. That's how we learn, which is brilliant. Yes, he could well have been drinking by now. I was just about to start the video up earlier and somebody rang the phone and said, "Are you coming over to the pub?" No, I'm a bit busy. I've done there, put a bit too much brown over the top of that axe. Yeah, just clean it off a bit. There we go. Yeah, again, that's sort of check his brown all over it, and if you want tomorrow, you could start again by highlighting it up. So. Yes. You see, it's really, they are real old school style miniatures, aren't they? They're just, you can paint them really quick and they're still going to look pretty damn decent. But again, there's plenty on there you could really work into, which is what we like to see. Okay, whilst we're thinking about what the undercloak's going to be, let's paint the over one. And we're going to use Runic Grey Speed Paint. This is version 1 speed paint, not version 2. I've not got version 2 paint because I've got loads of the version 1. But some of them are good. I do like some of them. As you can see, the actually I forgot about the grey skin on these. Never mind. Might have looked better with brown fur. We've gone with the grey. There we go. When that dries, that will look wicked. I think we'll get the beards and skin different enough to work it. So with hindsight, I think I would have gone for brown fur. But it's all good. I think there's another 4 Hearthguard to paint, so we can mix them up a bit. So we're just letting it do what it likes, really. Do its thing. It's a bit weird at the moment, but it will dry alright. Oh, something's happened on the dual carriage, I think. Yeah, where I live, there's a dual carriage not far apart, and there's some That's now Dylan texting me because I didn't answer him. So thank you very much for being part of our video tonight, Dylan. Yeah. Yes. So we get that speed paint on there drying. There we go. So now we need to find a good colour for these underneath cloaks. Right. The other thing with these speed paints you've got to watch for is this pooling. And what we'll do is we'll just, while it's still wet, is we'll wick it up a bit. And we'll put it a bit higher up. Wick it out with your brush. Put it up a bit. We don't want to put it up on the top. You can always just take it off on your palette. Yeah, I want something a little bit darker. I know where you're going with that. I say originally I was going to put a purple in there. I don't know if I can make it dark enough with the... That's one thing of the army paint of purples. I'm not very... They need the purple tone on board. Let's go for alien purple. I was thinking blue, but... There's a GW purple I really like. It's really sort of... This is almost it. But the GW one is just a bit darker. Yeah, I just wanted these guys to look a bit flashier, you know? And I wanted quite a sort of darker colour. Because I've already used black, I didn't want to use too dark. So what I do, as again, I thinned it out with a medium. As you can see, it's giving us those highs. Blimey. There we go, look. I think that's going to work nice. Oh no, the label's coming off my Tamiya paint. I can't take it back to the shop because it shut 40 years ago. I know it's a fur, but hey, they could have had it lined, couldn't they? Yeah, this is our rich dudes. I don't know. Are they rich? Duergar, do they work the same as dwarfs? Does anyone know? It's got to be in it. Of course, he's got no cloak. Oh, hour and 25 minutes. Woo woo! It's always good to keep an eye on the time. Okay, next we're going to grab our flesh wash. KK, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. What's he going to do with the flesh wash? They've got grey flesh. What's he going to do with the flesh wash? Don't worry. Don't panic. What I'm going to do with the flesh wash is put it on the gold. Because that gold was looking far too goldy. And we want it to look more sort of antique-y, kind of bronze, sort of old gold, that sort of thing, you know? So that's what we're going to do with it. We're going to put it on quite heavy onto there. So we don't mind it pulling up a bit. You see how it's going on with the crest on there, look. That's going to look wicked when it dries out. Yeah. You're right, John. It's fancy, so we can. Even to be honest, when you're painting the Dark Age miniatures, it's whatever you feels right, what works for you. They're your miniatures. I'm not saying this is where you should paint something. I'm just showing the way I'm going to paint it, and that's not being big-headed. I don't just think you should paint them. I think you should paint them how you paint them. I like seeing other people's painting. It's interesting to watch other people paint. You learn lots of things. Oh, you look at somebody's paint, and somebody always does something different to you. Yeah, and if you can pick that out and think, yeah, that looks wicked. Yeah, you can kind of sometimes add that to your toolbox, and then you improve. You can always, everyone can improve. So every day is a school day. Well, I hope, hope somebody watching this at some point gets something from it, because that's what I'm trying to do it. I'm just trying to spread the love. It's like Griffin Beast, they want you to get your miniatures. They don't want you to sell your miniatures to be in a big pile on your shelf. They want to sell your miniatures so you play the game with it. Let's shut this window now, so it's starting to blow the shutters around. That's better. It's a bit quieter now as well. Maybe it's too quiet. Okay, whilst the purple is completely drying, we go to work on that red. So we put the Abomination Gore. So next we're going to go for pure red. So it's had Abomination Gore, which is that colour there. We've put a red tone over it. Now we're going to hit it with some pure red. We're going to get our matte medium, so it's nice and loose and thinned out. And we can see where the Xenophore highlights left some grey areas. So it kind of guides us where we're going to paint. So we're going to paint on these, all the high bits where the light is shining mostly on the cloth. I know cloth doesn't shine, but it does get shadows. So we'll hit the high points and leave the shadows. Let's say we won't paint. We'll paint a little bit into there, just take some of that grey out. Yes. Yeah, I'm surprised how many people watch it on a rerun. It's quite surprising. I know a lot of American guys across the pond in the good old US of A. Obviously, the time differences and stuff. But yeah, it's good. Whatever floats people boats and whatever's helpful for people. It's just nice to do something, especially when this chat, when people are talking. It's nice to know that you're reaching out. And it's like meeting Nick up at the convention. That was good. Putting names to faces and what have you. It's brilliant. It can be quite an isolating hobby, this, can't it? You know, sat at our desk painting away or researching or even playing. There's only two of you. Well, maybe, but you know what I mean. You know where I'm going with that. You can get isolated, and reaching out is really good. And what I found with this is it's really nice knowing people of asking questions or even just chatting. And it's nice to know as well some people are painting, not even if it's the same miniature, but you know, some of you guys are painting at the moment, and that's ace as well. Yeah. They're called games, aren't they? I think people, it's so easy to forget they're games. And we're doing this for fun, you know? And the fun part is really important. There's nothing worse than going part in a, you know, you go to a show and there's a competition and people are arguing. I hate it. Or they're sat there and looking bored. I'm thinking, well, you're playing a game. If it's boring you, don't play it. Go play something else. Wander around, look at some dice. Do anything. Whatever makes you happy. There's so many games out there now. That's about the ideas we all have for by ourselves. Yes, yeah, a lot changed in the lockdown, didn't it? But I always thought it's like I was talking to people as well. It's like lockdown it was ideal, but everyone seems to be working to the ideal that when it gets back to normal, I'll have my new army ready. So it was like getting prep. It was like, oh wow, we've got all this prep time. Oh, that Nick, that was Darren. Yeah, that was Darren. He's the guy. I think if you ring up Norda, you speak to Darren mostly. He's kind of in charge of the warehousing and the making, well, and the nuts and bolts of it all, I suppose. Okay, well, while that's red's drying, we're going to go to a purple tone. Oh, I can't remember. What time did we get there? 11-ish, I think it was 11:30. Yeah, that's right. It's one of my favourite songs, KK, and it's called "Time to Turn." It's by a German band called Eloy, and it's about "Time to Turn" album's about a world that's gone to the end and it can't turn around and it's gone too far. And the the line that reminds me of what you just said was, we we dance on dragon's jaws in reach of its claws. And I think that sums up the end of a world quite well. So now we're just gonna, do you see what I mean about that purple tone really works with this one, but the purple without it is pretty pants. I guess that's why they sell both of them. Yeah, there's a purple, like one of the Games Workshop ones that's very similar, but it's really rich. But I think they've replaced it with one that's not quite as good. They do that. So it's got to be, what's the next show then? Is it Attack, isn't it, in Devices? Was that June or July? Attack, 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 attack. I like that one. I like it because it's nice and near. And there's a good place to have breakfast just round the corner. Yes. Can't be full English breakfast and then walk into a show like walk in like you're the boss because you've just had a full English breakfast. Oh yeah. Other breakfasts are available, but I'm going to stick to the full English. Right. So we're just having a look now back at that purple, and we'll take some of that wicket away. Wick, 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 wick. What I'm doing is taking those puddles out. We were like calling it wicking, which I think is the actual technical term for it. It is now. Yeah, you can see there's a big puddle there. Look, I'm just gonna wick it away with our brush. Oh yeah, you were saying, yeah, we stopped halfway up. I can't remember the name of the place, but it was open. Oh, sorry to hear that, KK. Well, thanks for joining us, and yeah, you have a good rest. We shall carry on singing and dancing. Okay, we're going to go back now and put a little bit more. No, see you, KK. Don't forget, people, to check out Kits with Karen on YouTube and drop by and give it a subscribe. We'll have a look later. Don't stop watching this at the moment and go and look at it, please. But maybe after I've finished. Okay, so we're going to go back to that red now. And just take the highlight a little bit tighter. So we went quite wide into the crease last time, but when we're not this time, we're going to stay right up on top. Oh. So yeah, with that red now, just going to stay in the highlights. You see how that's building up now? I think the camera's getting a really shine on it tonight, I don't know. Perhaps it's the position of the lamp tonight. You never know, one week I'll get it set up perfectly and I'll think, yeah. We're just going to go to that edge of where we want the really strong red to be. See on there, we're just hitting along the edge of the stuff, just making sure. Oh yeah, 1 hour 40. That's not bad, is it? Not yet quite. I wanted it to look a bit brighter than the levy, you know what I mean? Okay, so next we're going to grab our shining silver. This is where we darken that gunmetal grey on the thing. We're going to swap to one of our naff brushes because this will damage the tip. We're just going to, we're not going to dry brush, we're going to not have too much paint in our brush. And we're just going to real touch on gently. You don't want too much because obviously you're just going to paint it silver then, but we're just going to touch down on the areas where we think the light might catch the chainmail. Yeah, does that make sense? So it just goes a little shiny. And then on the edge of the sword, we're going to edge highlight the sword. Just using the edge of your brushlet. And as it comes around, we come around onto the blade just a little bit near the tip. And then maybe just a couple of dots up at the main part of the sword. So it's just make it look like it looks shining, yeah. And that works because you put the you've laid the basis of it with that ink. The wash. So again with the axlet, we're going to hit the edge of the head where the blade turns. There's probably a technical term for that, but I'm saying where the edge of the blade turns, so you know what I mean. And then we're just gonna, and the thing is, when the brush starts running out of paint, you can tap on there a little bit harder maybe, and just almost like a dry brush then, isn't it? You'll get the feeling of it. But the most important thing is go lightly, practice not put any pressure on your brush, just let there we go. I'm going to run a highlight on the edge of the brush, blade brush. Yes, the edge of the brush on the edge of the axe. Just lightly touch a few areas on the chainmail. Some of this is starting to really build up now. The edge of the spear. I think as a rule of thumb as well, if you're not sure if you've got too much paint in your brush, presume that you have, take a little bit out, because you can always go back over. But if you blob too much on there, you've got to work hard to get rid of it. That's how I think anyway. And there we go. So now we've got the helmet to dry as well. We're going to hit the bright gold. So again, a little bit, take a lot of your brush. Oh, pardon me, we're just looking for the very highest bit of the helm that we want to be like catching the light, and maybe along the edges of the anything, and if there's any detail on it, like there's like a horny bit there, horny around this eye guards, they're going to catch the light a bit. See how it just shines it up a little bit. You can dry brush that if you wanted to, but I like having the control of deciding. Again, I'm just loading up the brush, taking most of it back off. We're just gonna there we go. Put a little bit more on that, on the buckles and stuff. There we go. Okay. So that's all the metallic laid in. Going quite quickly tonight. Okay, so next we shall. Oh, how did we do their beards? Oh yeah, we did them quite white. I think what we do is we're going to do them with a beige colour first. And then we'll lay a bit of wash in there. Just making sure I didn't get it everywhere. Got no hair showing at the back. I know some of these sculpts have got a bit of hair on the back as well. Let's put a new brain matter beige out. Let's leave it down there so I know I've got to grab another pot. Yeah. I think so the dwarfs are, these are up, the dwarfs are up. I'm not sure if it's the duergar next or the goblins. I shall have to ask. Can't wait to get my hands on them. The gobbos are really cool. Yeah. So this beige I've got here, I know that I've watered this one down quite a bit, so I'm going a bit careful because it's going to run into everything if I'm not. But as soon as I've watered everything down anyway, it's not too much of an issue. I say any of these guys really could have been a warlord, couldn't they? Or a lieutenant. That's a thing in the Age of Magic one. Or Mr. One of his hair ties there. I'll just grab a bit of gold and drop it on there in a sec. I think that's the thing that I never used to do years ago, is if I miss something, I'd never go back and fix it. But I found, like, since the wet palette and that, I'll fix that. I think the 4-point version of these is a special offer, I believe. I don't think they intend for them to be a special run, but they're not sure how long they're going to do them for, if that makes sense. So they're planning on doing long term, but if they don't sell enough of them, they won't stay in the range. But I know they're selling quite good, so I can't see that being a problem. They're cracking old miniatures, aren't they? Oh, somebody's ringing wifey pews downstairs on the Alexa. Thanks for sharing, Alexa. So yeah, this was one I had hair on the back. I just checked that I've not missed off the others. He'd probably be the duergar everyone takes the mickey out of, because he hasn't got a cloak. He's got long hair. He's probably a disgrace to his family. He might have been disgraced by his family. His family might have been disgraced. You're not allowed to wear a cloak because you've been disgraced. Until you've vanquished somebody in battle, and then... These are very cool miniatures, aren't they, Nat? So, I mean, you start making up stories about them as you're painting them. I think you could spend a long time on these and make them look very, very special. And I think they deserve it. Oh, pardon me. Okay, let's do some with that purple. We had that purple, so let's go for a lighter one. Let's go for oozing purple. And we're gonna, which is quite a lot lighter. So what we do with that one is we're really, if you're gonna jump from a lot of sort of tones, as it were, so I'm going to quite a high highlight. Make sure you water it down a lot, and then just hit the very edge of where you want to highlight. I'm just picking out the very highest highlight with it. And then just let that dry off. And we're going to the other side. Because we're using very thin paint, we can just keep going back over. Whereas if we blob a load in there, you're never going to blend it in. So again, we'll go back. Now we're going to come back down that line and strengthen that highlight just a little bit tighter. There we go. That'll do. Cheers, Nick. Thanks for joining us, mate. All the best. Catch you next time. I will do the usual. I will finish these up in the morning and put the I'll put the stills on Facebook and that, and Twitter and what have you. We're coming down the highest part of the purple there. Just catch that edge there. Hide a bit of that red tone that we put on. And of course, he's not got a purple cloak to paint because he's lost his. Okay, now that beige colours now dried, we're going to go for light tone. This is, there's soft tone and there's light tone. The soft tone is a brown base, when the light tone is more of a sepia. You see, we're just work it into that there. And if you want it not so, because that's quite heavy, look, it's changing a lot of the beige. So what we'll do is we'll get some of our medium. We'll just paint over and wash it off the highest points. There we go. So we just take a brush of the medium, knowing that we need to water it a little now. There we go. We're just going to take the rest out of our brush and just wick a little bit away. So we're leaving. You want breakfast time? Breakfast time for John Luke. As you can see, you can really see this is sepia base when you put it on the white. When you use it in other bits, as you hardly tell. I prefer using this into the soft tone. Now we just take some of it off with a damp brush. There we go. Just now come up 2 hours. Wow, let's have a look. Let's have a 2-hour update. Right, okay, so I'm happy with the cloak. We might put a fancy gold string across it or something. Purple looks lovely. Again, with the black, we might do something with that as well. So fancy bits. We got paint the eyes. That's about it really on that one. Again, yeah, a few fancy pants. Gold lines. We'll put them on in a sec, shall we? Or maybe some silver ones. Although Colin's ones are silver, so I might stick with the gold thing. Just to make sure that we look a little different. Let's use, I've got another Psycho brush up there that's not quite my favourite one, so we'll use that. And we have got some gold out, but we're going to put some fresh gold out because we want it to not be dried out. We're gonna wet our brush, load up with gold. And we're just quite hard because it's all kind of concertinaed, so you have to kind of just paint into the grooves a little bit. But just let your brush go straight and then just fill the other bits in. That's how you do those. Go over the concertina bit, it just makes it like a dot to dot that. Okay. And I think we do that on there. Nice little line there. Okay. Just painting up and down the folds of the thing. Trying to keep a regular distance from the bottom of the cloak. Also, this isn't the Psycho brush I use for the eyeballs. This is the backup one, because doing stuff like this with metallic paint kills brushes. So if you're gonna do it with a Psycho, be prepared to lose that one. This is a older one, really. We're gonna paint around the bottom there. Sorry, I don't think I'm on screen. Sorry, guys. That's kind of locking my elbow up against the back of the chair, so I didn't have to. There we go. Think about maybe doing it around the cuffs as well, but we'll have to think about that one in a minute. So around the bottom there. A little bit thicker because it's a nice flat. There you go. I think because if we're around the bottom of that one, I think we'll do around his sleeves as well. Do his sleeve as well, but it will be behind his shield, but we'll know it's painted, won't we? Should we do the back of his cloak as well? Yeah. I'll just keep it a bit thinner on the back. I'm keeping it thinner on the back because there's some real nice shadowing on there, and I don't want it to be ruined by painting gold paint over it, if you know what I mean. It's not a bad idea to practice going nice and thin. The other thing as well, if you practice going thin, if you bugger a line up, you can just make it a bit thicker. There we go. I don't think we do it on the purple as well. You can have too much of a good thing. Should we do it all around the bottom of his cloak? Sorry, it's tabard, isn't it? So we're going to pull the line. You have to stop soon. 2 hours, I've had a lot of painting done today. Yeah, a bit of a cramp in my shoulder. I think the thing is as well, you've got to remember if you're painting and it starts hurting, stop. Have a rest. Then go back to it. Let's go around his sleeve. Tougher sleeve. There we go. Wash that old brush out. Put his lid back on because he's a little one. Still will survive even if you've used it in the gold, as long as you're careful with it. Don't scrub it about or anything. Right, let's have a look what we got. So what's left to do? Fiddling around a bit with the flesh. Need some higher highlights and needs a little bit of purple ink in there. Oh, let's do the let's finish the beards off, shall we? That won't take long. So we put that off white, and then we put the light tone on it. Now we're just going to go back with pure white. Can you see now? It's going to be hard because white glows under this light. And these beards are ace for picking out the highlights, so just a little dab of white on those highlights. Hopefully we can see it. You'll see it in the photograph. I'll get the photographs. So yeah, we're just touching on the edges of the beard. Leave the recesses to that slightly darker. Can be in light, almost like a dry brush style without being dry brush. And just hitting the highlights. I mean, if you're not confident of where you're going to place it, dry your brush and do it dry brush. It looks the same. I think dry brush has been where we used to use it an awful lot back in the day. I think there seemed to be a bit of a thing about it. You know, you're just dry brushing. Why not? If it works and it looks good, do it. It's a great thing to be able to do. And I think it's an art form in itself as well. A good dry brush. Not everyone can dry brush. You can just overdo it. Okay, let's have a look what we got now. So yeah. So I've got to do a little bit more work on the skin and the eyeballs. But apart from that, it's pretty much done. Happy with that grey. That's that speed paint. That works really well. And if you wanted, you could put like a little white dry brush over top. I don't think it needs it because we did the white underneath. Yeah, so... Oh yeah, and of course I've got to do the shields, but... Hey, it's shields. There we go. Right, I think 2 hours, 12 minutes. That's not bad, is it? We'll take that. Okay then, guys. I think we'll leave them there for tonight. I'll finish them off in the morning. There's their mates with their bows. So sort of compared to, so they'll match in nicely. So I'll get them finished tomorrow at some point and get them up online. Okay, well, thanks a lot for joining us, guys. Thank you, Ham and Jam. Thank you for joining me. That's brilliant. We always like to meet new people. Cheers. Thanks, Rich. And I will definitely see you next time. And keep painting, keep being happy. Enjoy the nice weather if it's nice where you are. If it's not, it's nice here. I'll enjoy it for you. Cheers, Jono. And I will see you all next time. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, that sort of thing. Spread the word, spread the love. Cheers. Pirate Rich out. Yarg.